Hey there, Kaiser here. I'm here on another issue of Super Trainer, and today I've got an amazing guest who's accomplished just about everything you'd want to in the personal training field. He's published a book that you can find in bookstores. He's got his own facility. He's published all over the place on the internet, and he's done all this before the age of 27. So there's a lot we can learn from this guy, and I'm talking about Eric Cressey. Thanks for coming on, Eric.
Thanks a lot for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so I was just talking about all the things that you've done in this business, and something that I've never gotten the answer I'm looking for from any of the big trainers I've had on Super Trainer, that no one's ever said they've wanted to come into training as their first choice for a career. Now, looking at what you've done and your credentials, I'm thinking you might be the first one to say that. Did you always want to become a personal trainer, or how did you get started?
Believe it or not, no. Actually, my senior year of high school, I didn't even take a science course. I was dead set convinced that I was going to be another one of the accountants in a long line of accountants in my family.
Okay.
Actually went to Babson College, which was it's something like 10 years running, the #1 entrepreneurial school in the country. So went there with the focus on becoming a CPA and crunching numbers, and I came to realize during my sophomore year that wasn't a good fit for me, and I was more interested in watching Sports Center and lifting weights than I was with crunching numbers, I guess. So made the transfer. I was really lucky in that all my management credits from Babson were good to go no matter where I went, pretty much. So I transferred them into a sports management program, declared a double major in exercise science. Finished a degree with 185-ish credits, in 4 years with summer courses and all that, and went on and did grad school in exercise science. So, yeah, I was not a training guy through and through from day one, believe it or not.
Yeah, damn, I thought you were gonna be my first one, but I guess I'll have to keep looking. No, but that's good you pointed that out. Yeah, you have one of the strongest backgrounds, credentials that you'll see in personal training. So I mean, that's real good. Now, one thing I want to talk about, based on your background is, what is your real job description? I mean, personal training is more of a general fitness type of thing, but you work with a lot of specialized athletes, especially baseball players at your facility. So what would you say, what you do? What is your job?
I'd say that I'm probably as far from a personal trainer as you can imagine.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me, yeah.
Right now, I have one-on-one client, and the only reason he's a one-on-one client is because he's a guy who's been with me for a while. He's 68 years old, and he is pretty much deaf. He's got some really serious hearing impairments, and we fixed him up with all his musculoskeletal stuff, but he really can't be here when the music's too loud in the facility. So I train him when it's not too busy around here, and I can turn the music off. So he's my only one-on-one client.
Okay. Did you
right now?
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
On a typical day right now, I will see anywhere from 20 to 40 athletes, give or take. Basically, all we do at our facility is what we call semi-private training. So our approach is no more than 6 athletes per coach. It's myself and 2 other coaches that work out of here. I also have a business guy, obviously, that takes care of the scheduling and the billing and all that stuff. But for whatever reason, the market that I've fallen into has been baseball training. This past off season, I saw 96 baseball guys. From 32 high schools, 16 colleges, and 8 major league organizations. So obviously it's a pretty interesting day, and to be honest, my days don't really get going usually until 12 or 1 in the afternoon. I stopped doing basically personal training at the crack of dawn a while ago, and it's one of the best decisions I've ever made, because I know that I'm burning the candle on both ends if I try to train athletes at 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. So it just doesn't work out. What I'm lucky is that in addition to training, I have a few other revenue streams, obviously with the product sales, also with writing. I do a fair amount of online consulting. People everywhere from Singapore to Great Britain to Australia, and all around the U.S. and Canada. So that's a nice little revenue stream, something that I can do on my own time. So I spend a lot more of my time with program design. Consulting work, writing, early on in the day, and I'll come in and I'll be working on my athletes all during the afternoon.
All right, that's good. That sounds real cool. Now, you started out as a personal trainer. That's what you said, right?
Yeah, I guess to a degree. I mean, I think like we all do. While I was at grad school, I was, I had my grad assistantship through the Department of Kinesiology at UConn, and my GA was, basically a research-funded GA by the U.S. Army, where I was involved in, basically training of study subjects. And alongside that, I was helping out in varsity strength conditioning at UConn, and also taking classes and all that. But with all that said, it's still pretty tough to make ends meet as a grad student. So, in order to pay my rent and to, stay from getting too far out of debt, I was doing a little personal training on a side at another facility. Heck, I even bartended at night while I was in grad school, believe it or not.
All right, yeah.
So, I've definitely done it. It's just not for me. I mean, nowadays, I practically fall asleep if I train somebody one-on-one because,
I see what you mean.
the semi. Sorry.
No, yeah, go on. I was just saying I agree with you. I see what you mean.
No, I think it's the direction that the industry is going. Is simply that the semi-private is taking off more and more, and for us, it's great. I mean, my days fly by, and I have a blast. I think if you talk to to Tony or Brian, who are the other two trainers that work out of our facility, is we coach our butts off. We work hard, and things are more concentrated. We're seeing a lot more athletes, and to be honest, I think the results are better, believe it or not, because the environment is that much better. And really, what you're doing is you're in a way, I think we're following suit with what you've already seen in physical therapy, what you've seen in cardiac and pulmonary rehab, is that, group training works. And when it's done the right way, and with effective programming, it works even better. I think for whatever reason, the ordinary weekend warrior has been convinced that he needs one-on-one training, when in reality, I think he'd do a lot better training with 2 or 3 of his buddies, at a reduced rate, believe it or not, so that he can train more frequently. And ultimately, that business model feeds into your training model as well.
Well, that's some real good info. And yeah, that is that's a career path that we see a lot of trainers taking. They start off one-on-one, but then they eventually get into another aspect of the field. Yeah, it looks like you've taken it pretty far too. So that's
yeah, exactly. One of the things that helped me, I think, the most was the simple fact that I was involved in college strength conditioning before, I ever really jumped out into the so-called private sector. I mean, I did some stuff obviously when I was in college, but when I got to grad school, it was like, you see anywhere from 10 to 75 athletes at once. You just learn how to roll with it. So when you get to that point where you're one-on-one with somebody, it's like, all right, do a set, and you ask them how their weekend was, and you shoot the breeze, and it's just not fun. So, when you're seeing 5 or 6 athletes, your head kind of spins a little bit. You've got to do a lot more programming in advance, and you can't really roll the punches quite as much, but you just learn to get good at it. And I think ultimately what's great about that is you set up a system where people are inherently accountable, not just to themselves, but to their training partners. Not just you.
Yeah, that's some real good info. And yeah, it's a good point you made. A lot of us as trainers, we come from a small group training background. That's how we got in shape ourselves and learned most of our information. But when we work with our clients, it's always one-on-one, just because that's the way things have been. But that's not what worked for us, and a lot of times it's not going to be what works for them either.